This is Octaves Dragonfly, and welcome to episode 2 of How to Create Music series. So, this series is basically a dive into creating music from many different genres and many different instruments and many different perspectives. So we're just gonna have fun with it. I think that's the best we can do. So, um, let's see. Where should we start? Yeah, I agree. So, this episode 2 is basically a series of a few different clips where I'm kind of walking through some of the Roland area equipment I have. So it's not like a technical deep dive where I go through each knob or anything like that. But I'm just kind of showing um, basically a quick setup with bass, some keyboard, synthesizer, um, and like kind of a drum machine, and being controlled by kind of your mixer or whatever. So, uh, from a Roland perspective, I have a MX1, which is a mixed performer. And the MX1 mixed performer basically it's just a mixer, right? So it'll bring together all the synthesizers, drum machines, loops, your DAW or digital audio workstations, Logic Pro, Ableton, Pro Tools, etc. And basic raw inputs from an audio perspective, such as microphones and etc. And that kind of just brings that all into one environment. So you'll kind of see me mess around with that a little bit. The other product that I'll be working with is a TR8. So the TR8 is a performance rhythm machine that melds kind of the legendary sound and vibe of the like the Roland 808, right? Like and the TR 909. So the 909 was more of the kit that was towards that house style music, and it combines all the features of those systems, kind of puts a modern spin to it. The next piece of equipment that I'll be using kind of in this series specifically is probably the System 1 from Roland, and that's a plug out synthesizer. And the System 1 is basically it's two oscillators plus an LFO, and we'll probably get more and more deep into that, or you could go just kind of use your favorite search engine and look up oscillator from a synthesizer perspective. But the oscillator basically is the thing that creates the tone, right? And then everything else that you do after that influences the overall sound and the end result. So typically, synthesizers come with one or two or more oscillators, and you can set those to different type wavelengths, which give you different type sounds that you can manipulate along with the keyboard and the LFO or the low frequency oscillator, which is kind of a think of it as an influencer to the other two oscillators, right? So You could do some filtering and stuff, which basically takes some parts of the sound, brings them down, and then it's basically being processed through a low frequency oscillator, which then creates various different results. So it's a straight up synthesizer in every sense of the term. It's kind of modeled after the System 8 from the 80s, but it's just kind of like a scaled down version of that. But a lot of the same sounds you can reproduce, and quite honestly, the amount of functionality across the oscillators, the mixer, the pitch, the filter, the amp, the various effects, and then kind of the sound bank or patches that are applied to that, along with some pitch wheels, arpeggio effects, etc. It's really uh, pretty good, especially for like a live performance type system. Um, the other piece of equipment that I'll be using is a VT4, and that's your voice transformer. So that's basically, I'll run a Shure SM58 through this VT4, and then route that in through USB into the MX1 mixer, and then I can manipulate various things with the audio that I produce from my microphone. So that's like, your robotic effects, megaphone, actual true vocoder, harmonies, balance, reverb, pitch, format, etc. And that little box is pretty cool. It's got a tuning mechanism to it, and it does have like a 4-channel bank to record various configurations, and that's kind of important with any of these type of electronic music equipment rather. So it's the ability to capture a certain configuration and then use the analog knobs to have that live performance function and vibe really is what makes these instruments pretty unique and special. I think in these videos comes up, that's the only pieces of equipment that I have. So first we'll kind of get into some basic setup, and then probably will then transfer over to you know kind of like getting things ready from a perspective of like, when you think of like, and this is like electronic music, and I'm building this in sort of a I'm trying to recapture some of the elements from the 80s Chicago house sound, and then kind of like putting some modern twists to it. So, I'm, every song has the basics, right? Like a percussion and the rhythm, and that, varies up and down throughout the song. Then you have kind of an underlying bass track that kind of that along with the drums kind of locks it in the pocket, and that gives you that beat, right? And then you accent or color those with melodies through or noise or different various sounds through your synthesizer, keyboards, um, and whatever else you can find. You can make music from anything. So that's the really cool part about it. So here we go. I hope you enjoy. Without further ado, um, let's get started, I suppose. All right, here we go.
All right, let's see. Let's give it a little test here.
Okay. So that's the system one. I'm just kind of like feeling around, getting my sounds right. That machine up in the top left corner is the MX1 or mixer. If you grew up in the late 70s or 80s.
And I got it over here, honey. No, okay. How about give me a little pre-programmed synth. Put my ARP step down. I'm probably gonna do like a 1/4. Just a straight down. Let's see what this sounds like.
So this is a System 1 synthesizer, plug out synth. So I'm just kind of experimenting with, for this particular song, I wanted to do a little bit of arpeggio, kind of very stringy synth. So I started with the number 7 kind of preset as
Well, do okay. So okay, that sounds okay. Test this some bitch. So
this
I got some
TV3
sounds in here that
bass.
I'm gonna do. Probably actually I'm gonna go to U1.
Those lights represent actual piano keyboard.
3-1. And then I'm gonna flip up to 3-2, but because I programmed those in already. Yeah, alright, so U1. Okay, alright, so I'm gonna cut all these back. And then let's just see what this sounds like here real quick as it rolls through the...
So this is with all the filters cut back, so it's just kind of the basic bass loops that I programmed in here.
It's my beat.
And there's many different sounds
Classic.
that you can choose from, etc.
I'm just gonna let that roll for a second, shut that off. Make sure this is still... Turn this down just a bit.
That's a Casio. I forgot to mention that in the intro. Just a cheap Casio that I bought. I think we bought that at a thrift store for like $5.
That'll bring in a little bit.
Doesn't matter.
Alright, so now I'm going to go to my drum track here. And first, hit my kit up. I'm going to just go with the regular old 808. And then pattern select, I'm going to pick something relatively new here and try to drown it out. So if I play it, let me just see what we are in program mode. Okay, so boom, boom.
So this
boom,
is the
boom.
TR8. A modern version of the 808 or the 909 basic drum machine.
We have no volumes.
I have no audio here, and I end up having to do some troubleshooting.
Okay.
That's always fun when you're trying to be creative. And then I get kind of upset.
I get no volume. Oh god. Now I got to troubleshoot. Okay, so it turns out my fucking USB cable was just fucking bullshit, but whatever. Got that switched out. So I go back to pattern select. I'm gonna hit 11 here because I'm just gonna fucking do a new track.
So the USB cable sucked.
Bitch. So here's my bass drum. I'm gonna just bring in one, 1 initially, just to see how she sounds.
Accidentally flipped my phone camera settings, so that's why it's sideways like this.
I'll tune this a little bit.
But here I'm just basically programming in the basic
I'm going to raise the attack a
32
bit,
beat track
raise the decay.
or multiple.
Oh, this fucking speaker's fucked. I gotta get a new one. Anyway. So, that's that. I'll probably bring up some snares next. The way I'll record those. Let's see. I'll pop off these ones. I'll just put those with the bass for now. And we'll bring those up nice and loud early. For the toms, I'm gonna just fucking bring in.
I was trying to go for a little bit of
My
I
high
wanted to
toms.
have
I'm gonna blank these red ones out because I don't want that, but
my
I'm gonna
deep
do this.
bass, but also kind of a tom and some claps and stuff
So
like
some
that.
toms. I'm gonna tune these up a little bit too. Slow down the decay just a pinch. Because that's probably what I'm going to open with on the song that I'm creating in my head right now as we speak. My rim shot, I'm going to kill out what's programmed. So suggestions are, every fourth beat. But so what I might do is, so if I'm listening at my toms, oh, I'm on my second channel, sorry.
So yeah, this is pretty much me just programming in the tracks. Here
Yeah,
you.
so I'll bring the hand claps in later. Actually, I'll probably concentrate more on this bottom row here with my chimes, or my closed hi hats, my open hi hats. I'll bring those back in towards the end. So, all right, that's the drums.
Good choice, Jack.
Now up here, this is my mixer. I'm going to control everything from the tempo, to actually, the whole 16 beat pattern, but also each individual track coming in, and then I can set sound effects to that, and then mask those per channel, etc. And I can manipulate that on the fly. So that's pretty much. Here's where we're going to start with that setup, and we'll kind of see what where it takes us. I still haven't figured out a way to mount my stuff. So I got my microphones, and maybe what I'll do, maybe I'll put this phone in this microphone case thing or something like that, and then try to clamp it down and record.
Well, that was probably pretty unnecessary for me to kind of go on like that. But just wanted to kind of show you the setup. That's in one of my rooms upstairs where I have more music equipment, and that's kind of where I do some stuff. Well, a lot of that kind of stuff, anyways. But anyway, that being said, let's just cut to the chase, and we'll go ahead and put on kind of the result of all that. So now, again, this is kind of my little music room, imaginary club, right? So I'll test things out before I go and play live, etc. Or again, this is like a performance setup. It's live. It's kind of different every single time. It's more about creating the magical environment and the energy and harnessing that, and then through that, by the crowd, etc., that kind of comes back through into the various electronic instruments, and then it's just kind of creates this magical cycle, which is very intense. So, that all being said, let's see if we can give you the end result. Thanks. Peace.
Jack built.